Exclusive contract from Feilu Novel Network Novel. Xidu. Duozi Duofu, starting from Burma, through the world of Dragon Ball, he became the young Wukong. For the revival of the Saiyan people, it is our duty to do so. Burma, you don't want to give this 4 planets to anyone else, do you? Miss Lanqi, you don't want the bank robbery exposed, do you? On the 18th, don't you want Klin to be kicked out by the Turtle Fairy if he can't afford the rent? Bidiri, you don't want the news that Mr. Satan is a waste to be made public, do you? Lord Bados, you don't want the Angel clan to be exterminated, do you? Only children make choices, why do I have to take everything? P.S. I have loved watching Dragon Ball since I was young, and I like Wukong. I want to write a story about Dragon Ball. Everyone knows the main storyline, so more of it is about the interaction between Wukong and other female characters, such as Wubu, Wuqi, Wulan, etc. Most of the female characters in the first installment will appear. Perhaps in terms of plot sequence, for the sake of story development, it will align with the original Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Crossing Through to Become Goku. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On Baozi Mountain, a child wearing blue clothes with a stick beside him is lying on the ground holding a piece of grass. His eyes are big, his face is round, his hair is pointed, and his entire hairstyle is like that of a crab, making him very skilled in fighting. This child is the protagonist's son Wukong in Dragon Ball comics. But he is still young and hasn't grown up yet, and more importantly, this son Wukong is not the same as before. Just a year ago, a young boy who crossed from the parallel world of Blue Star entered son Wukong's body, not only inheriting all his memories, but also mastering this powerful body. He instantly understood that this was actually the world of Dragon Ball, and with the powerful combat ability of the Saiyan people, that was not Bulma, Lanqi, 18, and even Angel Bados. Jia. Just as son Wukong was excited, he suddenly felt an urge to urinate. Fortunately, the entire Baozi Mountain belonged to his family. He picked up a clump of grass and pulled out his water gun. Just as he was about to nourish the vegetation on the mountain, son Wukong exclaimed loudly, "Is this his mother Saya so little when he was young? Where's my 18-centimeter ruler? Why didn't they wear it together?" Son Wukong, who traveled through time, was very sad. Without the sea god needle, can son Wukong still be called son Wukong? Perhaps it will be different when I grow up. Son Wukong can only hope on this, otherwise, he can only rely on the divine dragon. But in this case, if it reaches the ears of the gods, it will still make people laugh to death. Just as son Wukong was troubled, a mechanical sound came to his mind. Ding, congratulations to the host for activating the Saiyan multi-child and multi-blessing system. Saiyan Duozi Duofu system binding. The Saiyan Duozi Duofu system has been successfully bound to Ding. The Saiyan people have multiple sons and multiple blessings system. In order to promote the revival of the Saiyan people, efforts are made to reproduce offspring. As long as Saiyan children are successfully born, rewards can be obtained. Ding, there will be more rewards for the contributions made by the characters with names and surnames in the original manga to the revival of the Saiyan people. Ding, Saiyan Duozi Duofu system, novice gift pack sending, reward skill, 10-fold realm king fist, side effect removal version, Dragon Ball signature skill, turtle sect Qigong. What? How do you know that I want everything in the system? System. Children only make choices, adults certainly want everything. Jia. System. Jia. Your special code in the system. What a pervert. System. Upgrade, what kind of system is bound to what kind of host? Do you think I care about you? Son Wukong chuckled twice and withdrew from his mind. It seems that I have become the protagonist in those novels from my past life now. This is a system. With the power of the system, why not kill indiscriminately? Originally, Sun Wukong had already planned his own cultivation path, which was probably the same as the original Sun Wukong. Let's endure hardship first and enjoy happiness later, and then we will also accept Burma and the 18th. Now, practice. It is impossible to cultivate, and it is also impossible to cultivate in this lifetime. I can only make a living by getting married and taking concubines. But now this small body is still a problem. It seems that we can only get rid of the power of the divine dragon when the time comes. Sun Wukong thought to himself and soon found a solution. After all, in the world of Dragon Balls, it's not a pity not to use the power of a divine dragon. Wish for a stainless steel kidney when the time comes. In the following year, Sun Wukong diligently practiced diligently. After all, in order to make a wish to grow up to adulthood, he had to first collect Dragon Balls. Dragon Balls are not easy to collect, and in the original manga, Sun Wukong and Bulma experienced various difficulties and obstacles before successfully summoning the divine dragon. Although I was ultimately stabbed in the back by the Oolong. However, such a thing can never happen this time. In the blink of an eye, a year passed quickly. The first step towards Sun Wukong's great rejuvenation of the Saiyan people is approaching. Didi. A speeding car was driving on the mountain road, and Sun Wukong could hear its sound from a distance. He smiled slightly at the corner of his mouth and said, "Burma, my Burma, you're counting it. Do you know how I spent this year?" Sun Wukong quickly got up and then ran towards the small car with the logo of the capsule company in a few jumps. Without hesitation, Sun Wukong dodged and blocked in front of Bulma's car. Burma didn't expect a child to suddenly come out of this mountain path. His white feet slammed on the brakes, but there was no time at all. In her eagerness, she could only turn the steering wheel, but for a moment she forgot that there was a cliff next to her. Ah 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 ah. Accompanied by Burma's screams, she thought it was over. At the critical moment, Sun Wukong hugged the car and then fiercely pressed it to the ground. No matter how the tire rotates, it can never move forward at all. Quickly, the car came to a stop. Bulma, who was still in shock, carefully opened the car door and walked down. Seeing the strange child with a tail in front of her, she was very vigilant and took out a pistol from her arms to point at Sun Wukong. "You! What kind of monster are you?" Sun Wukong said with an unhappy expression, "I'm not a monster. It was your car that almost hit me, and I just saved you." Burma saw his very cute appearance and seemed to be speaking with some reason, so she lowered her guard and leaned down to ask, "What's your name, little brother? And how come you have a tail?" At the moment when 16-year-old Bulma bent down, Sun Wukong saw the small Snow White. Who could withstand it? The Burmako in front of me is even more Snow White than in the manga, emitting a faint fragrance all over. Hey, little brother, your tail is not fake. You can't be a monkey, can you? Why is your tail so hard? Sun Wukong quickly snatched his tail back from Bulma's hand. The tail is too dishonest. What's strange about having a tail? Don't you? Facing Sun Wukong's words, Bulma smiled happily. It turned out to be a little ghost from the mountains and fields, who had never seen a girl before. How could a girl grow a tail? That thing is said to only grow in boys, and Burma has seen it in books before. That tail shouldn't grow behind the butt. But Sun Wukong's tail is not only behind his butt, but also furry and very strange. But Bulma didn't find it strange that there were still humans with wolf heads and human bodies in this world. There were many humans with half humans and half beasts in the first part of Dragon Ball world. By the way, little brother, you haven't told me who you are yet. Why are you alone in the mountains? My name is Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong. What a strange name. By the way, my name is Bulma. Monkey King roast in his heart, how dare you call me by your name? The island language name for the name Burma is a women's triangle pants. It's not as good as me. Sun Wukong felt contemptuous in his heart, but he pretended to have an innocent expression on his face. Your name sounds really nice. By the way, this place is called Baozi Mountain, and the whole mountain belongs to my grandfather. The whole mountain belongs to your family. Burma was surprised. Surprised. It's a bit too early to eat semen now. Chapter 2. Wukong and Bulma. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Where's your grandfather? Is he at home? Grandpa died a few years ago. Bulma realized that she had said the wrong thing. At a young age, the only grandfather who accompanied him died. How devastating it should be for him. I'm sorry, I said something that made you sad. Sad. Sun Wukong blinked and thought to himself, I'm not sad at all. Sun Wufan died before I came, I don't know him at all. When it comes to knowing Sun Wufan, the Tai Shang Lao Jun he served after his death is quite good. Maybe in the future, he can take her and make her his wife. But now, woo. Sun Wukong instantly performed and burst into tears, arching into Bulma's arms while crying. Bulma didn't think much about Sun Wukong's pitiful appearance, so she hugged him in her arms and comforted him well. Woo. Sun Wukong cried even louder. So soft, really soft. Unfortunately, this is not yet the peak state of Burma. Burma, who is 2 years earlier, will develop more maturely. It will be the season for picking grapes then. Sun Wukong reluctantly arched his face a few more times before retreating from Bulma's generous embrace. Seeing Sun Wukong's nostalgic expression in front of him, Bulma's face instantly turned red. This little ghost didn't pretend just now, did he? But the strange power displayed by this child in the wilderness, besides using a gun, may not necessarily be his opponent. Burma could only grit her teeth and then took out a golden pearl from her back pocket, emitting a brilliant light. By the way, little brother, have you ever seen such beads? Sun Wukong looked up and said, Isn't this exactly the Dragon Ball? Of course he has seen it before, it was left in the house left by his grandfather Sun Wufan, just handed over easily. That's naturally impossible. He looked up and down at Bulma, and Bulma only felt a bad premonition, but now she wants to collect Dragon Balls no matter what, and fulfill her wish. How about it, have you seen it? If you have, take your sister and she will give you a big reward. A big reward. Sun Wukong thought about the scale just now and could only sigh, the small one is also very cute. I have seen it before. What my grandfather left behind is in the house where I currently live. Really? Burma appeared very happy, but she had suffered a lot all the way for this bead. According to the Dragon Ball radar display, it was located in this Baozi mountain. She had originally thought that it might take a few more days to find it, but she didn't expect it to be effortless. Surprisingly, it was in the hands of this young man named Sun Wukong. Can you take your sister to take a look? Sun Wukong nodded and then pretended to be embarrassed, saying, It's possible, but it's a bit far from here and I'm a bit tired again. Burma was indeed deceived and opened the side car door. Get in the car, I'll take you there. I'm an old driver. Sun Wukong shook his little head and said in an uncomfortable tone, I get motion sickness. Upon seeing this, Burma immediately took out another capsule and smashed it onto the ground, only to see a white smoke rise and a motorcycle appear out of thin air. This is the power of technology. She is truly the daughter of the capsule company. Although she has not yet started using her clever brain, she cannot hold on to the many capsules she carries with her. Motorcycles. Hee. Sun Wukong had read the manga and had long known that Bulma had a motorcycle. This thing is much more exciting than driving. Why don't you try this? It's definitely not dizzy. Bulma said as he turned the car back into a capsule and took it back, then straddled the motorcycle and said to Sun Wukong. Okay, then I'll give it a try. Sun Wukong didn't hesitate and jumped up directly. His small hands instinctively hugged Bulma's slender waist, and then pressed his face against Bulma's back, feeling the warmth of the young girl. Can you? Please don't get so close. Burma was speechless, feeling something strange about this little ghost. It's a bit like a little kid. If I didn't get so close, I would be afraid. Sun Wukong didn't care what Bulma said, but he just kept getting closer and closer to himself. Burma, you don't want to go late either. That bead is missing, is it? What else can Burma say? Directly venting his anger on the car, he forcefully stepped on the accelerator and rushed out. This sudden acceleration was what she had intended to scare little Goku, but it happened to give him a chance. Sun Wukong pretended to scream loudly, then unconsciously moved his palm upwards and gave it a fierce grip. The headlights of this motorcycle are good. You. What are you doing? Burma, who was suddenly attacked, almost rushed down the cliff. She never expected this little ghost to be so bold. Who told you to drive so fast? I said I was scared. Sun Wukong spoke in a very aggrieved tone. I'll ride slowly, you. Let go. Burma compromised. But Sun Wukong tightened his grip and said, Don't talk, Bulma, we're going to take a turn ahead. Baozi Mountain has a complex and treacherous terrain, with ups and downs along the way, which is thrilling and thrilling. Sun Wukong is often scared and screams loudly, while Bulma is also angry and screams loudly. Both of them have a bright future. Chapter 3. 4-Star Dragon Ball. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Finally, despite taking many detours under the guidance of Goku, we finally arrived. Sun Wukong jumped off the motorcycle and landed steadily. He turned around to look. At this moment, Burma blushed with embarrassment. She was a blooming girl who had never been bullied so harshly, especially a child who was many years younger than her. She exerted so much force, but still felt a slight pain to this day. This little devil, I almost couldn't resist shooting him. Burma felt angry in his heart, but he really looked just a child. Can I still struggle with a child? Fortunately, Bulma walked into the room in front of him under the guidance of Sun Wukong. She saw the dragon beads enshrined on the table at a glance, with 4 stars shining on them. It's a 4-planet Dragon Ball. Seeing the Dragon Ball in front of her, Bulma quickly forgot all about her previous depression. After all, nothing is more important than getting a Dragon Ball. Bulma walked forward with a happy expression and held the Dragon Ball in her hand, as if she had obtained a treasure. It's really a Dragon Ball. Great, Sun Wukong. Bulma was extremely happy. But Sun Wukong beside him was very calm. Can there be a Dragon Ball in the world that can be taken for free? Do you want to leave without leaving anything today? Burma clearly did not realize the seriousness of the problem, only thinking about a bumpkin like Sun Wukong who grew up in the mountains and grew up with his grandfather since childhood. It's because I've never seen a girl before that I did those things. To deal with such a young man, isn't she able to handle it easily and steadily? After thinking through all this, Bulma showed a proud smile and then walked up to Sun Wukong, looking pitiful and delicate. Little handsome guy, could you give this ball to someone else? Not good. Sun Wukong's resolute refusal left Bulma stunned for a moment. What? What a joke, this little ghost can resist my sister's temptation. Bulma calmed down and analyzed. Just now, Sun Wukong's actions were probably just words that he wouldn't be easily satisfied. Since that's the case, why not? Burma lifted up her short skirt, revealing her fair and delicate skin. So, as long as you give me this bead, I'll let you touch it, okay? Really? Burma saw that it was indeed effective and thought to herself, the little ghost is the little ghost, but that's all. Of course, I am the most trustworthy person. Okay. Sun Wukong readily agreed, as if he was already prepared. Bulma secretly thought to himself that he probably wouldn't, but it was too late. She could only shout out, shut up, I mean use your hands. The farce finally came to an end, accompanied by the pistol that Burma had pulled out with him. Although Sun Wukong didn't understand why her pistol could fire like Gatling. Of course, it really hurts. Fortunately, I have the physique of a Saiyan, so if I were an Earthling, it wouldn't be killing me. No, it's already dead. You. How come you're not even afraid of a gun? In fact, Burma regretted the moment she fired. She didn't want to kill Sun Wukong, it was just an instinctive self-defense reaction. After all, if Wukong is not stopped, his own green grassland will be excavated. Humph, you're trying to murder me. Sun Wukong looked angry, but of course he pretended. After all, he did indeed do something very outrageous, but this cannot be blamed on him. In fact, Sun Wukong is not really such a hasty person. It is only the first time he has seen Bulma, and it is inevitable that he will be a little restless. Is it still called a young person if they are not full of vitality? Besides, he has a Saiyan physique. Sorry. Burma apologized sincerely. Upon seeing this, Sun Wukong naturally forgave generously, and in the future, when he grew up, he would return all the bullets she had shot at him. No, it's a double return. Super double. It seems that you are different from ordinary children, you seem to be very powerful. Bulma saw Sun Wukong forgive him and immediately had other ideas. At present, only 3 Dragon Balls have been collected, and the journey ahead will be even more difficult. If there could be a powerful monster-level thug like Sun Wukong, wouldn't it be very easy and comfortable? As for the cost, Bulma had a plan in her heart, but she didn't believe that this child could do anything out of bounds. Sun Wukong, do you want to go on an adventure with your sister? Asked Bulma. Sun Wukong's face was gloomy at this moment, not because of anything else, but because he had only been there for a short moment. But who the hell can understand the pain of having experienced the wonderful sea breath but being powerless? No, I also need to quickly gather all the Dragon Balls. When Sun Wukong regained his senses, he heard Bulma asking if he was willing to go out together to find the Dragon Ball. Of course. Sun Wukong answered decisively. On the endless desert, a jeep with a capsule company printed on it is speeding. Wukong, didn't you say you got motion sickness? Burma was speechless, watching as he lay beside the passenger seat, seemingly enjoying himself. He rested his hands on the back of his head, and the wind outside the window blew his hair up. Did you hear me wrong? How could I get motion sickness? Sun Wukong said leisurely. Humph, I won't hear you wrong. You're just trying to deceive me. Damn it, there's not a word of honesty in your mouth. I warn you, if you dare to do the same thing as riding a motorcycle again, I'll... What's going on? Bulma thought for a moment, this Sun Wukong gun is not even afraid, he can't threaten him at all. Humph. Burma could only snort coldly and stop speaking. Quickly, the sun set in the desert, and after a day of driving, Burma also felt a bit tired. She stopped the car, took out the capsule, and threw it forward. In an instant, a luxurious big house appeared in front of her. Looking at the convenience of the capsule, it is no less than the ninja technique of the neighboring shadow, the technique of 3 rooms and 2 living rooms. Humph, how's it going? You haven't seen these novel things in the mountains since you were young, have you? Burma was very proud to see Sun Wukong's surprised expression, and finally managed to win back a city from him. She walked into the room with Sun Wukong and saw that there was almost everything inside, everything was there. Kitchen, toilet, sofa, bathroom, king bed. There are all these places where battles occur frequently. Can this be what Bulma is hinting at me? Sun Wukong thought for a moment, then remembered his involuntary body. He could only sigh helplessly and rest early, there is everything in his dream. Chapter 4. The Joy of Journey. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The kitchen, toilet, sofa, bathroom, and even the king bed will definitely be unlocked once with Burma in the future. It's just not the time yet, Sun Wukong knows. Burma from different periods has different flavors. For example, the green hair in front of her is at the age of 16, with a delicate and youthful aura like a girl, giving people the feeling of being like a girl next door. At the 23rd Martial Arts Conference, the Bulma is the youthful version of Bulma. When her body is most mature, it is as delicious as a ripe cherry, and her whole body is full of femininity. When the Saiyan attacked, Burma did not go downhill at all. He just cut off his long green hair and changed to short hair that was ear length. His dressing style also showed more maturity and charm, like a seductive young woman. The most precious thing is that she understands how to cherish her husband. Vegeta not only eats a soft meal but also secretly makes wishes to the divine dragon for him in private, even if he wants to become younger. What's outrageous is that he even makes a wish to make his buttocks curl up a little. Serious people should understand the meaning of a slightly raised buttocks. So, Burma is undoubtedly the first choice for his wife. Of course, Goku, who traveled through time, came to satisfy the regret of Dragon Ball fans, and it is completely impossible for him to do so because he is an old pea. Burma walked straight to the refrigerator and casually took out a bottle of Fat House Happy Water. Ice-cold sparkling water, take a sip and all the worries of the day disappear. Sun Wukong saw this with a question mark on his face. What about mine? Bulma said angrily, if you want to drink, go get it yourself. Sun Wukong didn't argue with her either. After all, he will be his own wife in the future, and the whole family is not. What's so annoying about him? Wukong also took out a bottle of happy water from the refrigerator. He asked while drinking happy water, Burma, what are you looking for Dragon Ball for? Burma smiled shyly and stuttered, this is a girl's secret. Humph. Wukong's face showed disdain, do you think I don't know without saying it? He remembered in the original manga that Burma was looking for Dragon Ball for a boyfriend like Prince Charming, but in the end, this wish was inexplicably used by Oolong, and he only received a weight gain from an unknown girl. Seeing Burma's hopeful expression on her face, it was evident that a young girl of her age had unrealistic fantasies and was unaware of the harsh reality. But it's okay, let him help fulfill the unfulfilled wishes back then. The two chatted again, and at the same time, Bulma also pulled out the Dragon Ball radar. Seeing the flashing dots on it, Bulma told Wukong that this was the location of the next Dragon Ball. How many have you collected now? There are only 3 left, and I can make a wish with only 4 left. Burma opened his hands and yawned as he spoke, but he had been a bit tired all day. Seeing Wukong, he also looked a bit tired. I think we should take a shower today and rest early. Burma suggested. Taking a shower. You said this, I'm not tired anymore. Wukong's eyes suddenly lit up and he naturally followed in the bathroom. Bulma had just taken off her clothes when Wukong followed in and quickly jumped into the bathtub, exclaiming in embarrassment, Do you think so? Wukong nodded, his big eyes filled with sincerity from lit on. Then. You can take it off first. Bulma felt a bit helpless, but looking at the little Wukong, he thought nothing unexpected would happen. I asked you to take off, I didn't ask you to take off all of it. Seeing the naked Wukong in front of him, Bulma felt a bit speechless, especially the small object, which was very dazzling. Upon seeing this, Burma could only shift her gaze away, and at that moment, Wukong smoothly crawled into the bathtub. Bulma helped Sun Wukong clean his body thoroughly, especially the tail behind him. Burma found it very amusing and played it hard. Sun Wukong is a bit speechless about this, just a tail. What's fun about it? However, I can't afford to lose myself either. Soon, Burma's screams of surprise came from the bathroom. One night passed, and after all, Sun Wukong was a martial arts practitioner, so he woke up early from bed. He turned his head to look at Burma who was still sleeping soundly beside him. Last night, he finally managed to persuade Burma and the others to sleep together. For this, he swore that if he crossed the border, he would be a beast. Last night, Sun Wukong kept his promise and didn't do anything. But we didn't agree to do nothing this morning. Sun Wukong looked at Bulma, who was unprepared at the moment, and walked forward, learning from the comic book's Little Wukong. He then used the classic technique of taking a photo. Chapter 5. First Encounter with the Tea God. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. By the time Burma woke up, it was almost noon. Wukong, what kind of gaze are you looking at? Bulma stretched lazily on the bed. Sun Wukong pretended to be indifferent and said, "It's nothing, you look really beautiful when you wake up." Faced with Sun Wukong's boasting, Bulma couldn't resist it and went to the bathroom without checking anything. After brushing her teeth and washing her face, she dressed neatly. "Oh, Wukong, why do you have a beard growing around your mouth? This beard is still curled up, it's really strange." Bulma reached out and took off Sun Wukong's beard from his mouth. "This is not a beard, is it your hair?" Sun Wukong quickly nodded and said with certainty, "That's right, it's hair." "Ha ha ha, you're so smart, Bulma. You've noticed all of this, actually. I love losing my hair." Bulma looked at Sun Wukong with thick hair and nodded skeptically. "The hair around this mouth, since it's not a beard, isn't it just hair? Otherwise, what else could it be?" Bulma didn't think much either. After leaving the house, she put it away. She took out the car capsule again, but it couldn't start this time. "What's wrong?" Sun Wukong asked upon seeing this. "It seems that I drove too fast yesterday and forgot to refuel the car, so I won't be able to drive anymore." Bulma's face was very ugly, with the desert and Gobi in front of her. How could she get out with just 2 legs? "By the way, where's your motorcycle? I can also ride a motorcycle." "Humph, rest, I gave the motorcycle capsule a long time ago. You should give up this idea." Burma angrily said that she would not give Sun Wukong any opportunity to take advantage of it. This guy is not as simple as he appears on the surface. But if that's the case, how should we get out of this desert? Sun Wukong asked the question of the soul. Bulma was bewildered and in place. "Yes, how can I get to this big desert?" She knelt down on the ground, tears streaming down her face. "Wubu, I'm still so young and haven't even talked about boyfriends. I don't want to die here." "Don't worry, Burma, I have a solution." "What's the solution?" Bulma's eyes lit up when he heard Sun Wukong say so. "Why don't you let me be your boyfriend before you die, so that you can fulfill your wish?" Go to hell. Burma was speechless, and even at this moment, Sun Wukong still had the mood to joke with her. When she was feeling depressed, the smoke and dust rolled in front of the desert, and the roar of motorcycles could be heard from afar. "Help!" Sun Wukong and Bulma looked at each other in surprise. In the distance, a floating motorcycle quickly appeared. The car drove at full speed, and as it was about to collide with 2 people, a drainage ditch took a dangerous turn and stopped in front of them. 1 person and 1 cat got off the motorcycle. The man is a tall young man with a big word for joy written on his clothes, while the cat is suspended in mid-air and can fly. Bulma looked at the young man and said in an instant, "Okay. So handsome." Sun Wukong was panting in a secret passage on the side. When I grow up, I'll be much more handsome than him. Isn't it just Yamuti? A man who dares to fuck and explode." Yamcha looked at a woman and a child in front of him, and in front of him, their combat effectiveness was not worth mentioning at all. Therefore, she was very proud and said, "I am the bandit Yamcha, who oversees this desert. I opened this mountain, and I carried this tree. If you want to pass through from now on, leave behind the road to buy wealth." Upon hearing this, Burma instantly showed a disdainful expression on his face, thinking that he was so handsome and probably not a bad person. "But I didn't expect that you were just asking for money. With such a big beautiful girl in front of you, are you thinking about some money?" Are you still human? On the contrary, Sun Wukong beside him leaned his hands against the back of his head, very calm. At this time, Yamcha couldn't even defeat Sun Wukong, the original version with 10 combat abilities. Now, after a year of hard training, he has already increased his combat effectiveness to 15 points. Isn't it easy to deal with Yamuti? Yamcha became even angrier when she saw the girl and child in front of her who seemed not afraid of him at all. Can't you understand me, Mr. Yamcha? Burma bent down and leaned in Sun Wukong's ear, asking, how about it, Wukong? Can you beat him? Of course. Seeing Sun Wukong's confident expression, Bulma felt relieved. There are still many treasures in the capsules on her body, all of which are prepared to be useful in finding the Dragon Ball in the future. Little devil, are you looking down on me, Grandpa Yamcha? Alright, let me test your strength. Sun Wukong sighed. It seemed that without repairing the tea god, he didn't know how high it was during the day and how thick the ground was. Unfortunately, this should be your only highlight time. Sun Wukong put on his posture, and Yamuti instantly felt a powerful aura from him. And this aura is very calm, not something that a child can control at all. Yeah. Young Master Yamcha. The puer next to him had a bad feeling, as if he had encountered a tough spot today. If I had known this, I shouldn't have used transformation techniques to please young Master Yamcha last night. Chapter 6. Teach a lesson to Desert Thief Yamcha. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Puer deeply regrets it. In order to exorcise Yamuti, it is afraid of women's problems. Every night, it sacrifices a lot. The thought of last night's wild Yamcha young master like a wolf made Puer's heart slightly sweet. The two have known each other for a long time, and have been following Yamuti since Puer graduated from kindergarten. The two of them traveled south and north, and finally settled in this desert. If nothing unexpected happens, it will be the person of young Master Yamcha for its entire life. On one side of Puer, they were reminiscing about their sweet past, while on the other side, Sun Wukong and Yamcha had already engaged in battle. Without hesitation, Yamcha charged forward with a powerful punch. Upon seeing this, Sun Wukong leaped and dodged, then quickly turned around in mid-air, using his shoulder behind him to collide straight towards Yamuti. Iron Mountain, damn it. This move hit Yamcha heavily on the chest, and in an instant, it unexpectedly flew Yamcha out. Undoubtedly a legendary martial arts skill, terrifying like this. Amidst screams, Yamcha flew several tens of meters in a row before finally falling to the ground. Shame. It's so embarrassing. Yamcha stood up in a huff and patted the sand and dust all over his body. He was a notorious desert bandit, but he was actually beaten by a child. How can he continue to behave? Humph, stinky little devil, I admit you have some strength, but this time, my Yamcha master is going to take it seriously. You better be mentally prepared. Yamcha waved her posture as she spoke. That's. Burma in the distance saw that at this moment, Yamuti was like a human wolf, emitting a wild aura from top to bottom. Hee, young Master Yamcha has shown his true abilities, and this little ghost is also on the brink of death, said Puer, gloating at the sight. That's a trick that Yamcha learned in her youth while battling wild wolves in life and death. Wolf Fong Wind Fist. Yamcha let out a loud roar, and then the entire figure transformed into a hungry wild wolf attacking Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong could even hear the sound of wolf chants in his fist style. Good fist technique. Even Sun Wukong couldn't help but praise Yamcha, although inferior, always ranked 6th among Z warriors. But creativity is still possible. However, the strength gap between the two cannot be bridged in this way. Sun Wukong's gaze instantly became serious, and even his body speed increased significantly. He dodged left and dodged right, but Yamcha's Wolf Fong Wind Fist didn't hit Sun Wukong in a single hit. This. How could this be? Puer couldn't believe it. During the battle, Yamcha's face was even more shocked. His wolf Fang wind fist has never been missed. What kind of divinity is the boy in front of me? Is it a legendary monster? Before Sun Wukong could finish his surprise, his counterattack had already arrived. He suddenly exerted force on his small body and feet, then jumped high and kicked back, hitting Yamcha's unprepared abdomen. Oh no, I was careless. Before Yamcha could even regret it, Sun Wukong slapped Yamcha's handsome face hard again. Accompanied by his body, 2 classic front teeth flew out, and the wolf teeth of the wolf Fang wind fist were all broken by someone. Puff. This time, Yamcha flew over 100 meters and crashed into a huge desert rock before stopping. Great, Wukong. Bulma was very happy, and sure enough, this strange kid named Sun Wukong was incredibly strong. Yeah. Young Master Yamcha. Puer cried and flew forward, crying as she said, Young Master Yamcha, you can't die. If you die, how can I live? Don't worry, I didn't kill him, Sun Wukong said to Puer from a distance. He didn't want to kill Yamcha. Anyway, he is also an outstanding Z warrior in the original manga. Although he always lags behind, when facing a strong enemy in crisis, he is truly amazing. Just because of this, Sun Wukong would not have killed him, let alone, now he cannot compete with himself for Bulma. With the help of Puer, Yamcha struggled to stand up and looked at the young man in front of him, his eyes full of disbelief. Sun Wukong looked indifferent, as he had not even opened his World King fist. By the way, Bulma, didn't you tell us how to get out of the desert? Sun Wukong suddenly said to Bulma. Yeah, I can't walk on just 2 legs. Sun Wukong smiled slightly and pointed to the floating motorcycle lane brought by Yamcha beside him. Well, isn't there a motorcycle that nobody wants? Quickly, Burma and Sun Wukong disappeared into the desert like shadows, riding motorcycles. Puer looked at their distant figures and said in a daze, Yamcha young master, we. The car is gone. How can it be repaired? You wait for me. Such a great humiliation, I swear by Yamcha, 30 years east and 30 years west of the river, I will repay you 10 times the next day. Come on, young Master Yamcha. I believe you can do it. So what should we do next, young master? Why don't you help me go to the hospital first? Yamcha covered her leaking teeth and said, Young Master Yamcha. Chapter 7. Solving the Demon Oolong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Burma drove his motorcycle all the way out of the desert with Goku, and in front of him was a small mountain village. According to the Dragon Ball radar display, a 4th Dragon Ball will appear here. Strange, where are the people in the village? The 2 of them looked at the village in front of them, which was quiet and seemed to be deserted, and felt very strange. Could it be because you're too ugly, Burma, that they all hid in fear? Bulma fiercely punched Sun Wukong on the head and angrily said, talking nonsense, how could a beautiful lady like me be scary? Who saw me and I don't like it? Wukong, what expression are you on? Do you believe it? Sun Wukong was too lazy to pay attention to her, but quickly found the house where the villagers were hiding, relying on the scent. After knocking on the door several times without any result, Sun Wukong punched through the door directly. An uncle appeared in the door, wielding an axe and cutting towards Sun Wukong, but he was easily caught by Sun Wukong with 100% empty hands. What are you? What are you? 4. Burma appeared very flustered. After all, although she had a strong mouth, in reality, she would still expose herself as a weak girl when facing danger. The uncle heard Burma's voice and saw that Sun Wukong in front of him was a very cute child, which made him realize he had made a mistake. I'm sorry, I thought you were Lord Wulong. Lord Wulong. Sun Wukong understood and arrived at the village where Wulong was located in advance. He, who is familiar with the plot, naturally knows the level of Wulong. However, Burma also found a dragon ball in the hands of an elderly villager, but the old lady asked them to help eliminate the black dragon and gave the dragon ball to them. Oolong is a big monster that lives nearby. It can transform into various terrifying monsters, and the villagers have no choice but to deal with it. Moreover, this Oolong is very lascivious, specifically looking for cute girls in the village. After hearing this, Burma suggested that Goku should dress up as a girl to lure Oolong into appearing. For this, son Wukong certainly refused. Just kidding, before crossing over, I was also a handsome 7-foot man. You asked me to dress up as a woman. It's impossible to pretend to be a woman in this life. Faced with son Wukong's refusal of righteous words, Bulma leaned in his ear and whispered, "Oh my, the weather has been so hot lately. Why don't you try the sexy lingerie you just bought tonight?" Burma, after thinking for a moment, it's not good to let Oolong do evil in this village. As a responsible and righteous young man in contemporary society, I should step forward and rebuild the glory of the human race. It's our duty to do so. Are you sure, Wukong? Don't force yourself. Don't worry, I'm not forcing you at all. What I'm saying is heartfelt. Really? Bulma looked up and down at son Wukong, then called out a little girl about the same age as son Wukong and asked her to lend her clothes to him. Son Wukong didn't talk nonsense either, he just put on his clothes. Not to mention, he did indeed become a very cute little girl when he dressed up a little. Not bad, not bad. It would be great if you were a girl, Goku. Bulma looked at the female version of Goku in front of her and sighed. She only lacked a cute little sister. Son Wukong snorted coldly and said discontentedly, "Anyway, don't forget about what happened tonight." Alright, I know now. You can solve this Oolong monster first. The two chatted for a while, and news of the Oolong monster entering the village had already come from outside the door. Bulma quickly pushed son Wukong out of the door and hid himself. Son Wukong saw that Bulma's nimble hands and feet were no less than those of Yamuti. His small white hands were so swift that if used, so why not take off the gourd? Are you enjoying yourself to the sky? Dong dong. Dong dong. Accompanied by the violent vibration of the earth, a giant with sharp horns resembling a hellish ghost walked up to son Wukong. He is wearing a suit and holding a bouquet of flowers in his hand. Hee, are you the cute little girl prepared for me in the village? Son Wukong turned his back to him and did not answer. Oolong mistakenly thought that his terrifying image had frightened him, and then transformed into a very handsome eagle country gentleman. How about, lovely lady, can you turn around for me now? Son Wukong was about to use a move to knock him down, but Bulma suddenly killed him. Hello. My name is Burma, I'm 16 years old. I haven't had a boyfriend yet. Bust circumference of 85. Seeing Bulma's appearance, son Wukong felt very helpless. This was another problem of being a flower addict. It seems that we should treat Bulma with acupuncture and moxibustion in the future. Inject her hard and deliver all the medicine into her body. Son Wukong felt that it was urgent to put away the Dragon Ball when he thought of it, so he immediately stopped wasting time and turned around. He took off the little girl's attire and revealed his original attire. Oolong looked at Wukong, who had suddenly undergone a great transformation in front of him. He didn't understand the situation yet, but only guessed whether this lovely girl was still a tomboy. For some reason, Oolong became even more satisfied and excited. Hee, that's great. You're in line with my king's taste. Come with me quickly. Oolong's attention was all on son Wukong, and for a moment, Bulma was ignored. Humph, you're another ignorant bastard, Bulma said angrily to son Wukong. Wukong, hurry up and teach him a lesson. There will be rewards tonight. Okay, you said it. Son Wukong was naturally very willing to this, as he had originally planned to fight quickly and make a quick decision. I saw son Wukong's figure flickering, and Oolong didn't even have time to change his other appearance before he was punched back to his original form by Sun Wukong. At this moment, the villagers realized that the monster Oolong was just a little pig's head. That transformation technique was only used to scare people, and his original strength was still as weak as his own. Next, led by Oolong, the villagers arrived at the luxurious house he had built. The girls who were previously captured were all unharmed. Oolong didn't even touch it. It turned out that he also had the same distress as Goku today, which was a problem that transformation techniques couldn't solve. The villagers wanted to take these girls away, but they all expressed their unwillingness to leave and threatened to marry Lord Oolong voluntarily. I'm joking. We have food, drink and play here. Sisters are all talented people. They speak well. Naturally, they like this place very much. How can they leave? Wukong was delighted to see that women in this world are also very real. But that's a good thing. In the future, there's no need to be flashy. My wife Bulma will become the richest person in the Dragon Ball world. Of course, you can also have a good communication and exchange with your future father.in.law, Mr. Satan, in the future. Isn't this money coming? After all, he also quite likes Bidiri, especially when it comes to double ponytails, which adds a desire for control. Oolong volunteered to join the team searching for the Dragon Ball in order to escape these girls, but of course, he was rejected by Wukong with reason. Are you joking, 3 people? How can that be done? If you want to take advantage of Burma, there's no way to do it. If you don't kill me, you'll be considered lucky. In the end, Oolong could only bid farewell to the 2 of them reluctantly under the fist of Sun Wukong, who had a swollen nose and eyes. According to the Dragon Ball radar, the next location of the Dragon Ball is in a mountain range not far from this village. According to the villagers, that place is called Flame Mountain. Sun Wukong smiled slightly at the corner of his mouth, and when it came to Flame Mountain, he remembered a lovely young girl. How could one's life partner be without her? Chapter 8. Meeting Qiqi on Flaming Mountain, Seeking Flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Flame Mountain, without spring or autumn, is hot all year round. When Bulma and Sun Wukong arrived at Flame Mountain, they were already dressed in cool clothes. Here, Burma has also unlocked swimsuit mode. Sure enough, it's 85. A beautiful figure can't deceive anyone. Bulma wiped the sweat from her forehead while taking out the Dragon Ball radar. According to the radar display, that Dragon Ball is so lifeless that it is actually inside the volcano. This Bulma felt a bit desperate. Even if she transformed into a water spray baby, she couldn't extinguish such a large volcano. Wukong, do you have any solution? Bulma can only rely on Sun Wukong for hope, not knowing when it started. Whenever there is danger, Bulma's first thought will always be Sun Wukong. The past is like this, the present is like this, and the future is even more so. Sun Wukong held his chest in both hands and pondered to himself that if he wanted to extinguish the fire of Flame Mountain, he would have to borrow a banana fan. I heard that the banana fan is in the hands of an old man. A huge monster from afar walked over, interrupting Sun Wukong's thoughts. This is too big. Bulma looked at the figure approaching, her whole body only reaching the legs of this huge monster. Finally, this huge figure walked up to the 2 of them. She looked up and saw that a giant standing 5 meters tall appeared in front of her. Different from the previous Oolong. This giant is covered in strong tendinous flesh all over his body, wearing a cowhorn headband, and holding a huge axe in his hand, looking full of power. Wukong. Wukong. Bulma quickly hid behind Sun Wukong. Who are you, what are you doing here? The giant asked the 2 of them, and the giant axe emitted a dense white light in the sunlight, as if a word of disagreement would cut them in half. Sun Wukong calmly straightened his waist and said to the giant, I know you're the Bull Demon King, who are you scaring? Ha! The giant named Bull Demon King bent down and looked at the little one under his nose, showing interest. You seem to have a lot of courage, little one, but how did you know my name? That's because my grandfather's name is Sun Wufan, and I'm his grandson Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong naturally did not conceal anything, and there was nothing to hide. After all, this tall bullhead will become his father-in-law in the future. I heard that Bull Demon King, like Sun Wufan, is also a big landlord, and the entire mountain here belongs to him. There are countless gold and silver treasures in his cowshed. Unfortunately, in the original manga, it was burned 7 or 8 times by Flame Mountain. As soon as he thought about it, Sun Wukong couldn't help but feel regretful. It seemed that he had arrived too late. The big fire in front of him was completely destroyed by nothing. This was also the reason why Sun Wukong had to farm for a long time later. Soft rice is so fragrant, but unfortunately, I can't get it from Nyobao, and Bulma also married Vegeta. When the Bull Demon King heard Sun Wukong mention the name of Sun Wufan, his eyes lit up instantly. He then carefully examined and found that he was still carrying a stick behind his back. Is this? Sun Wukong nodded and then pulled out the stick, publicly demonstrating his ability to stretch and retract freely. That's right, this treasure is Sun Wufan's lucky stick. So it seems that this guy must be Sun Wufan's grandson who hasn't run away. Seeing that the Bull Demon King finally believed him, Sun Wukong finally put away his treasure. This Rui stick can be of great use in the future, as it can directly lead to the heavenly realm. On this journey, even if Bulma mysteriously borrowed a stick from him, Sun Wukong refused at all. Looking at Sun Wukong in front of him, with his youthful and heroic appearance, the Bull Demon King couldn't help but think of the lush years of the past. He remembered the running of the two under the sunset, which was the lost youth of him and Sun Wufan. The Bull Demon King let out a long sigh, thinking that back then he was also a talented person, with a bull-like aura. Sun Wufan is not bad either, but he still lags slightly behind me. Speaking of the martial arts competition back then, I almost defeated him. It's a pity. However, even Sun Wufan's grandson is so old now, I don't know if that old guy is still strong. The Bull Demon King's emotions and nostalgia for his old friend made Sun Wukong think for a moment, but he still didn't tell him the news of his grandfather's passing. By the way, Bull Demon King, do you have a way to help us extinguish the fire of Flame Mountain? Burma, standing beside him, boldly walked out after learning that this giant had such a relationship with Sun Wukong. The Bull Demon King spread his hands and said helplessly, if I had this ability, could I still let this fire burn down my bull castle? What he said is so reasonable and straightforward. But if you really want to extinguish this fire, why don't you go and invite Sun Wufan's mutual master, Master Wu Tian, over? Maybe he has a way. Are you talking about Wu Tian teacher, who is known as the god of martial arts? Burma was surprised and didn't expect to meet his disciple here. No wonder Sun Wukong is so powerful. His grandfather actually has a master-disciple relationship with the legendary Wu Tian teacher. The answer from the Bull Demon King was completely within Sun Wukong's expectations. He had no intention of relying on the Bull Demon King's power to extinguish the fire. Are you going to invite teacher Wu Tian now? The journey is far away, and Sun Wukong doesn't even know where the Turtle Immortal House is now. It's a bit of nonsense. However, there is also a solution. Dad, who are they? While several people were discussing a solution, a petite girl ran over. She looks about the same size as Sun Wukong. She is wearing a blue battle armor and a helmet-like thing on her head. Her lower body is only covered by a small piece of fabric. As she runs, the fabric is very unnatural and still. Very outrageous. Hello, my name is Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong boldly extended his hand towards the little girl. The little girl held onto the thigh of the Bull Demon King, feeling a bit timid, but seeing that Sun Wukong didn't seem like a bad person, she tentatively reached out her hand. Two little hands clasped together, and the little girl timidly said, "My name is Qiqi, and I am the daughter of the Bull Demon King." "Hello, Qiqi." Sun Wukong smiled. Besides Dragon Ball, was he here for Qiqi when he came to Flame Mountain this time? Now when you see Qiqi, you have to hold on to her even more. You should know that she is too naive now. If she is not careful, she will be abducted and taken away by others. I almost fell in love with Yamcha in the manga. So he said straightforwardly, "Qiqi, will you be willing to marry me when you grow up in the future?" Chapter 9. Divine Qigong Wave. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Faced with Sun Wukong's straightforward words, everyone was at a loss for a moment. Even Qiqi was pinching the pants of the Bull Demon King, appearing very embarrassed. Humph, this little Goku is such a pervert. He's just a little girl, but he actually. Bulma felt uneasy on the side. Before, Sun Wukong used to revolve around him, so why did he suddenly want to marry that little girl? Damn it, wait for Sun Wukong to see if I can let you into my room tonight. Burma fiercely vented her dissatisfaction in her heart. She always felt like she couldn't grasp that the story of losing Sun Wukong had happened before, but didn't she just get to know Sun Wukong? Strange, Bulma shook her head, feeling a bit puzzled. Why did she suddenly feel a little sad? So. That Sun Wukong, we're just meeting for the first time and getting married in the future, wouldn't it be strange? Qiqi asked, covering her blushing face with both hands. The Bull Demon King on the side also laughed heartily. Yes, Wukong, if you really like Qiqi, of course I won't object. It's just that you two are still young, it's too early, isn't it? Sun Wukong shook his head. In his heart, if Bulma was the first wife candidate, then Qiqi would be a strong contender with the 18th wife. Of course, it goes without saying that the attribute of never getting tired just because of one's youthful appearance is enough to make people tempted. Besides, who wouldn't want to see a blonde girl sitting on it and staring at her with a disdainful and rebellious expression? And the reason why Qiqi can compete with number 18 is not only because she is already good-looking. Firstly, when she appeared at the original 23rd martial arts competition, Qiqi was truly stunning. Even Bulma was slightly inferior at that time, but the original Sun Wukong was a martial arts enthusiast. Qiqi had to support her family and take care of her children. Who could withstand this? So later on, Qiqi's appearances were mostly like an unreasonable villain, but this was also related to her constant pressure. Therefore, in this world, Sun Wukong wants to give her a brand new life. Let her always maintain this pure teenage heart. Of course I am serious, Sun Wukong said earnestly to Qiqi. But I won't force you, you can think about it first. Now I want to solve another matter first. Another thing. Could it be? Burma had a guess in her heart. Sure enough, seeing Sun Wukong slowly walking towards the flame mountain in front of him, his thin and small body appeared incredibly majestic at this moment. Wukong, do you want to? Sun Wukong nodded without looking back. How could this be? Wukong is also acting too recklessly. He doesn't have a banana fan, how can he extinguish this fire? The Bull Demon King couldn't figure out his state for a moment. But seeing Sun Wukong slowly squatting down, he reached out with his hands towards the void ahead, then moved up and down and closed it. This posture. The Bull Demon King opened his eyes like copper bells, which he was somewhat familiar with. From Sun Wukong's body, he seemed to see the back of the martial arts god and Sun Wufan. The backs of the two overlapped, once again becoming the back of Sun Wukong today. Turtle. Sun Wukong's voice was resounding, without any hesitation. Sure enough. Sure enough, it's that. The Bull Demon King's face was full of disbelief, which was a unique skill he had never mastered. Only Sun Wufan has managed to use it by chance, which is a miraculous skill of using Qi to the peak. This kid is clearly only in his teens, how could he possibly use it? Impossible, absolutely impossible. In the questioning of the Bull Demon King, Sun Wukong's second voice came through. Pi. As his words fell, a series of visible blue lights began to condense in his palms. Oh my goodness. Bulma seemed to be completely dumbfounded. She didn't expect that Sun Wukong, who was not even afraid of bullets, would still hide such a unique move. Even Qiqi carefully hid behind the Bull Demon King, feeling the strong wind blowing around Sun Wukong when he gathered his energy. She understood how powerful Sun Wukong was. Perhaps even stronger than my own father. Would it be good if he were to become his own husband in the future? Qiqi looked at Sun Wukong's back and felt some fluctuations in her heart. Sun Wukong was still gathering his whole body's energy, and he saw that the blue beam in his hand had gradually formed a bright ball shape. The entire land at the foot of the flame mountain has been replaced by this blue light. Now Wukong is like a deity in front of them. That's right, this terrifying aura is definitely not wrong with that move. Although the Bull Demon King still had some disbelief, the fact was presented in this way. He has to recognize reality. This child is more talented than him, not even Sun Wufan. In his small body lies a powerful force, and the Bull Demon King has a premonition that perhaps he will create infinite miracles in the future. Gong! Sun Wukong suddenly shouted out with his last shout. Then he saw a blue wave of light shooting out of his hand, straight towards the flame mountain in front of him. The strong and dazzling light made it impossible for everyone on the field to open their eyes, even the Bull Demon King had to raise his arm to block his eyes. Accompanied by the shaking of the earth and mountains, the sound of strong waves keeps roaring. Is this the end of the world? Burma was frightened and hid behind a giant rock. Bang bang bang. The deafening sound lasted for a full 3 minutes before gradually stopping. Bulma poked his head out from behind the boulder and saw that the fiery flame mountain in front of him, which was originally raging and burning with flames, had been half consumed by Wukong's turtle sect Qigong, and the flames were completely gone. This. Burma was somewhat surprised and couldn't speak. Amazing skills. The Bull Demon King had a complex expression in his eyes, and he didn't expect that the young man in front of him, Sun Wukong, would be able to unleash the unique skills of Turtle Immortal Flow. Sun Wukong slowly turned around, and from his face, he could see that he was still a bit tired from emitting such a strong wave of Qigong. He squeezed out a smile and said to Bulma, "Bulma, the fire of Flame Mountain is gone. You can go find the Dragon Ball now." Bulma walked forward and touched Sun Wukong's body, confirming that he had no abnormalities before taking a long breath of relief. "How amazing you are." Sun Wukong chuckled and shrugged his shoulders, as if he had just done something insignificant. Bulma, don't underestimate me. I have even harder skills than Qigong waves." "Do you have any harder skills?" "Of course. It's just not the right time yet. When the time comes, you'll know my prowess." Chapter 10. Finding the 7-star Dragon Ball, thanks to the 2 big stars. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bulma looked at Sun Wukong, who was equally unfathomable in front of her, and finally a hint of teenage shyness appeared on her face. It seems that Sun Wukong still likes himself. Unfortunately, the current Wukong is still small. What's wrong, Bulma? Aren't you going to quickly find the Dragon Ball? Sun Wukong saw Bulma standing still with a shy expression on his face and quickly reminded him. Yes, Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball. Burma woke up and took out the Dragon Ball radar from her bag, then groped in the direction of the radar. Let me help you find it together, too. Qiqi said softly. The two of them searched for a while on the ruins of Flame Mountain, and soon, Qiqi discovered the Dragon Ball from a place covered by Nyobao bricks and tiles. Look, I found it. Qiqi lifted the Dragon Ball in her hand high, with an uncontrollable joy on her face. She was always happy to help others, especially now that this pearl was also what Sun Wukong wanted. Bulma saw the dragon ball that shone brightly under the sun, with no more than 7 stars on it. It's a 7-star dragon ball. Burma was very happy and was about to walk over when a strange bird's cry suddenly sounded in the sky. Damn it! The Bull Demon King looked up and saw a huge pterosaur flying down from the sky. I believe she mistook the dragon ball in Qiqi's hand for her own bird egg. It quickly dived and grabbed the small and slender Qiqi, effortlessly catching her into the sky. Help! Help! Qiqi screamed in fear in the air, but the Bull Demon King couldn't fly at all and had no choice. At this moment, the pterosaur not only did not leave, but also circled twice in the sky, panting heavily in its nostrils, appearing arrogant and imposing. Qiqi's crying grew louder, and the pterosaur became impatient as it was about to open its sharp claws and stab Qiqi's head. Sun Wukong took out his Rui stick and prepared to raid this cunning pterosaur with its elongated function. At the critical moment, Qiqi, who was still crying and helpless, suddenly erupted. She forcefully removed the boomerang from her helmet with her 2 little hands and threw it towards the pterosaur. I saw a flash of white light, and the entire head of the pterosaur was instantly cut off. Sigh. Sigh 1. The furious woman is indeed terrifying. The pterosaur doesn't even understand why this seemingly harmless human little girl is so terrifying. Aren't you scared to death just now? Why don't you just play me? As agreed, what about trust between people? Oh, I'm not a human. It's okay then. The pterosaur died peacefully, accompanied by its massive body and Qiqi's small body falling from the sky. Ah 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 ah. Qiqi closed her eyes and didn't dare to look. This place was at least a few hundred meters away from the ground. If it fell, it wouldn't turn into flesh and mud. Sun Wukong also knew that the situation was critical, but with such a rapid descent speed, coupled with the considerable amount of stamina expended when launching the turtle sect Qigong just now. Now, even he may not be able to catch Qiqi steadily. Damn it! Sun Wukong's face was cold and stern, and the Bull Demon King beside him was definitely unreliable. Sun Wukong! Sun Wukong! Qiqi finally shouted Sun Wukong's name, and in that moment, Sun Wukong remembered how he had forgotten such a crucial skill with a fierce slap on his head. I saw Sun Wukong, who had previously suffered severe physical exhaustion, suddenly covered his body with a layer of red flames. Then Bull Demon King and Bulma felt as if Sun Wukong in front of them had turned into a fiery red lightning bolt. Before I could see clearly what had happened, I saw that Qiqi, who had originally fallen in the sky, was nowhere to be seen. When she realized it, she had firmly landed in Sun Wukong's arms. Qiqi, who was still in shock, thought she was dead, but she didn't expect the ground to be so soft when she opened her eyes. At first glance is the handsome and sunny young man named Sun Wukong. Wukong! Wukong! Qiqi shed tears with some excitement, not knowing for a moment whether it was because of fear or finally being saved. Don't worry, Qiqi, it's okay. As Sun Wukong's words fell, the red light wrapped around him also disappeared. Without the blessing of the red light, he almost became unstable, but fortunately, he forcefully held on. On the other side, the Bull Demon King and Bulma also rushed over and shouted from a long distance, "Hello, are you okay, Qiqi, Wukong?" Qiqi's face turned red just now. When she calmed down, she suddenly felt like something had caught her chest. She looked down and saw Sun Wukong's palm lying there. Ah 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 ah. Qiqi screamed again, and Sun Wukong felt helpless about it. He didn't mean to do it this time. The situation was critical just now, and he had to save someone posed to be handsome, so naturally he didn't have any control in his hands. Besides, who would be interested in Xiaohe's just showing his sharp edges? Sun Wukong put down Qiqi, whose small face was as rosy as the sunset behind him. She covered her little face and quickly whispered to Sun Wukong before Bull Demon King in Bulma arrived, You are the first man to touch me, from now on, you must marry me. Do you mean you're willing to marry me? Well, I'm willing. Is this a blessing in disguise? Remembering that Sun Wukong had done similar things before, Qiqi decided to marry him, but she didn't want to interfere. When Bulma and the Bull Demon King rushed over, Qiqi quickly handed the Dragon Ball tightly held in her hand to Bulma. Look, is this the Dragon Ball you want? Bulma saw Qiqi's innocent and lovely appearance. She almost lost her life just now. For a while, my liking for Qiqi also increased significantly. Taking the Dragon Ball from her hand, Bulma expressed her gratitude. At this moment, the Bull Demon King walked over and carefully examined the Dragon Ball in Bulma's hand. So that's exactly what you're talking about, Dragon Ball. What, have you seen it before? The Devil Bull nodded, patted his chest and said, Of course, if I remember correctly, my master, Mr. Wu Tian, has a bead just like yours. It's just that there aren't as many stars on his bead as you do, it seems like there are only 3 stars. It's a Samsung Dragon Ball. Burma exclaimed in surprise, feeling like he had nowhere to find it, and it took no effort to get it. Since they had the clue to the Dragon Ball, the two naturally decided to set off tomorrow. At night, Qiqi roasted the dinosaurs she had killed during the day for Sun Wukong to eat. Although I have eaten many delicious foods in my past life, it is still the first time living dinosaur meat has been eaten. He originally thought that such an ugly dinosaur would have old and dull meat, but he never expected it to be so delicious under Qiqi's craftsmanship. Great, Wukong, do you really like to eat? Of course, what you made is really delicious. Sun Wukong wiped his mouth with oil, and in just a short while, he ate most of the dinosaurs alone. The Saiyan people are not only very capable but also very edible. Seeing Sun Wukong so fond of eating the dishes she cooked, Qiqi was naturally very happy. She smiled and said, Okay, when I grow up in the future, I will marry you and make delicious food for you every day.